Welcome to the Only Male Cruz Show, the podcast. I am the only Male Cruz. Be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, replay gang, leave a comment. You know I want to hear from you. Copyright disclaimer regarding fair use is in full effect. The views and opinions expressed in this show, you guessed it, they're all mine. Let's go to work. All right. Welcome to the Only Male Cruz Show, the podcast. I am the only Male Cruz. Yeah. Be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, replay gang, leave a comment because you know I want to hear from you. All right, so listen, I promise you I am not going to keep you long. I got class tonight, so, but a couple things. One, so Derrell's attorney has submitted a request. He wants to go to a funeral. Shout out to Aretha Johnson. He wants to go to a funeral. Kelz has responded to the motion. Well, not really the motion, but he's put in a attestation. And just real quick, as it states in the description of the video, it's a little hot out here, y'all. So I'm going to start with this first. Now, most of y'all know that, I really just got into this R. Kelly situation. And the only reason why I'm hip to all of the inconsistencies and the injustice that Kelz has had to go through is because I did an interview with infamous Sylvia. And I have to say this, that I'm glad I did that interview with Sylvia, because had I not, I would have been still walking around thinking Kelz got a fair trial. And the only reason why I know and I believe and I'm in this fight for Kelz justice is because during my interview with infamous Sylvia, she brought up the transcripts, helped break it down, and it showed me, and I'm like, this is really a social injustice. So for that, I have much respect for infamous Sylvia. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't know about all the stuff in the past. I've heard stuff, come on now. I've heard things, but, for the most part, I'm cool not to really even comment on it because I ain't been in the game. So, my opinion doesn't matter. And that's all that is totally just not relevant as far as, whether whatever my thoughts are and how much I knew and do I need to go back and try to do 3 years worth of research. And I ain't about to do all that. But I am going to be 100 no matter who it is. I got to. And so, people have been coming to me. I posted this on my community page. People have hit me up on Twitter and on IG. Asking me if I'm part of the, the fundraising and the letter writing. No, I'm not. I'm not part of that. And at this point, I certainly wouldn't be part of it because, Bongine has stated on multiple occasions, they're not asking for money. So, but I can't knock somebody and say, I can't, I'm just going to do what I feel is right for me. Okay. And what I do feel is right for me is that if Jennifer Bongine, who I have, the utmost respect for as an attorney, if she's saying don't do it, then I'm riding with Bongine on that. She said don't do it. And this really is just a series of tweets here where she said, y'all killing me. I don't keep up with the blogger scene. My staff told me they received some money, blah, blah, blah. So Bongine is saying don't do it. And I ain't mad at her. And that's just where I stand on that, y'all. So, and I feel like it's only fair, every time I'm on YouTube before I leave, I'm like, replay gang, leave a comment. I want to hear from you. So if y'all hit me up, I'm going to respond. You're respectful to me, I'm going to respond. Because I do want to hear from you. And that's just that on that. So let's get down to the main reason why we're here. And that is um, our boy, Derrell. hmm He's walking around. He's got privilege. It's good weather out here in Chicago right now. You know what I'm saying? It's real nice. And I bet it's even more beautiful in Washington. So Derrell, um, hold on, let me take this off of here real quick. Your boy Derrell, he asked his attorneys, uh, Bo Brindley and Vadim Glosman, they're asking the judge, let him go to Washington, D.C. Says they, and respectfully moves this honorable court to enter an order allowing him, Derrell, to travel to Washington, D.C. from Wednesday, June 1st through Friday, June 3rd to attend a longtime friend's funeral. In support of the following, this is what they're offering. Mr. McDavid is released on a secured $500,000 bond and subject to electronic monitoring and a 24-hour curfew, which, it's just so interesting that he got this bond, but Kelz couldn't get none, okay? Derrell is permitted to travel within the continental United States for purposes of business. He requires court orders to travel outside of the Northern District of Illinois for any other reason. Derrell recently found out that a longtime friend had passed away. Her funeral is being held in Washington, D.C. on June 2nd, and Derrell is respectfully requesting this honorable court to allow him to travel to Washington, D.C. from Wednesday, June 1st through Friday, June 3rd to attend this funeral. Derrell has previously been permitted to travel outside of the Chicago area, both for a prior funeral and on multiple occasions for business purposes with no incident. There have been no violations or alleged violations of the conditions of his release during the pendency of this case. Now, aren't him and Kelz charged pretty much with the same thing? They definitely got a whole lot of counts in common, right? But he's got bond and he's already been able to travel outside. Yeah, I tell you, the privilege, it's a beautiful thing for some people. The undersigned has spoken to Assistant United States Attorney Janice Appentang, who indicated that the government has no objection to the instant request provided by Derrell. They sent the itinerary to the pretrial services in advance, and looks like Derrell's pretrial services officer has been out of town since Derrell found out about the funeral, so they don't know what the pretrial officer thinks. Wherefore, for the reasons stated above, Defendant Derrell respectfully requests this honorable court to enter an order allowing him to travel to Washington, D.C. from June 1st to June 3rd in order to attend a longtime funeral, submitted by his attorney, Vadim Glosman. That's a beautiful thing. Ain't that nice? Shout out to Panama City. Thanks for pulling up. Y'all be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Replay gang, you know what time it is. Leave a comment. You know I want to hear from you. So it's just interesting that, this guy is already out on $500,000 bond. And clearly that's been for a while. But it's just, the irony of it, because I know they was trying to get Kelz out early when he first went into, when he first was locked up. They talking about COVID, and they're talking about the fact that, I think they said Kelz had diabetes and this, that, and 2/3. So it's just interesting that Kelz couldn't get bond for even health reasons, but this guy right here, he's already been in and out of, it says here, he's already been out of state. He's already been out of the Northern District of Illinois jurisdiction for business and another funeral. So it's just amazing. It's amazing. But if you recall, in another motion that was submitted by Bongine a couple weeks ago, and then Derrell's attorneys responded and said something to the effect of, Bongine is making these claims out of nothing, and the least she could do is submit, some form of proof, this, that, and 2/3. Well, here's what they've done. They've submitted a declaration directly from Robert S. Kelly. So Bonjean wasn't making nothing up out of thin air that she's not willing to substantiate in court. So Kelz is making this following declaration. He goes, I, Robert S. Kelly, declare under penalty of perjury. 1, I am the defendant in the above captioned matter. I am aware that my attorney filed a motion for severance in this case after numerous conversations with me, and she has read the motion to me. I was represented by Ed Genson for many years in connection with an investigation and eventual child pornography charges brought against me by the Office of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office in the 2000s. Mr. Genson and his partners, associates, colleagues represented me at trial on those charges that ended with an acquittal on June 13, 2008. After that acquittal, I maintained an attorney-client relationship with Mr. Genson for at least a decade, including between 2012 and 2018, which included regular consultation about legal matters in my life that came up on a frequent basis. Kelz further goes on to state, I am also familiar with the Sun-Times article in which Mr. Genson was interviewed before his death. Without getting into detail, Mr. Genson revealed attorney-client privileged communication in that interview that I did not authorize. I did not file a complaint against Mr. Genson with the ARDC, and the ARDC never contacted me to discuss Mr. Genson's comments to the Sun-Times. I have no idea whether the ARDC ever conducted an investigation in violation of the rules of professional responsibility by Mr. Genson. Although I do not have a specific memory of ever consulting with Vadim Glazman, I have a distinct memory of his name as someone who worked with Mr. Genson during the time that I continued to consult with Mr. Genson about legal matters following my 2008 acquittal. I declare, under penalty of perjury, under the law of the United States of America, that the foregoing is true and correct. Executed on May 26, 2022, signed Robert S. Kelly. So, Bonjean mentioned it in the last motion that she submitted, and she also is providing what's acceptable in a court of law, and that is an attestation by her client, R. Kelly. So, it's just remarkable. And, the trial in Chicago, we can damn near count it down, y'all. It's starting in 61 days. Okay. And there's a lot of energy going on these YouTube streets. And to keep it all the way 100, y'all, I mean, we got to get focused because it just is just my own personal opinion. We got to stay focused because if they pulled all these shenanigans prior, okay, in the New York case and this, that, 2/3, if they pulled all that then, what makes us think that they ain't going to pull something now? You know what I'm saying? And people, I know that some people are saying, well, there's nothing wrong with what Genson did. It was his deathbed confession. Well, when you're an attorney, you don't have the privilege of a deathbed confession. And what I found out was even after his interview with that reporter from the Sun-Times, yes, Genson was rushed to the hospital immediately after it, but he didn't die later that night. So that's technical. That's not even a deathbed confession. But, you got to think about it from this perspective. What will that do to the justice system if you have attorney-client privilege while your attorney is in good health? And then if your attorney, God forbid, fall ill or be diagnosed with I can't even think of the word, terminal illness, does that mean he can go and just drop all the tea on you and he can, pick through what he said in order to bring charges on you? That's not right for John Q. Public. It's not right for R. Kelly. It ain't right. It's against professional code of conduct. So we should not be excusing that behavior. I don't know what y'all think, but I sure would like to know. So, Replay Gang, leave a comment. You know I want to hear from you. So that's it, y'all. That is the podcast. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. Replay Gang, you heard. Leave a comment. You know I want to hear from you. Until next time, y'all, we will see ya when we see ya. Welcome to the Only Male Cruz Show, the podcast. I am the only Male Cruz. Be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe. Replay Gang, leave a comment. You know I want to hear from you. Copyright disclaimer regarding fair use is in full effect. The views and opinions expressed in this show, you guessed it, they're all mine. Let's go to work.